Yes, we are back. My name's Shay, I'm a nutritionist and an international level athlete, and today we're talking about potentially the most important video you will ever watch for mindset and just both getting things done but also having an enjoyable life doing it. What our life comes down to is decisions, and if we're making the wrong ones, we're making our life unnecessarily harder. And I'm going to illustrate this as a bit of an abstract topic, so I've got a whiteboard and some pens, so bear with me. Let's get into it. Alright, we're starting off here with time of day and enjoyment. So this might be someone's regular day, they're kind of feeling alright in the morning. Maybe you have a nice lunch break, you're kind of fading a bit towards the end of the day, and then you go home, have a nice evening. And the thing is, if we take out this end of the day and we make it so that he indulges in something that is not good for you, I'm just going to say unhealthy food, but use your imagination. I'm trying to keep it PG here. Let's say it skyrockets at the end of the day because he's synthetically fried himself with dopamine. Now, for one, this is not a good thing because our dopamine is meant to reward us when we do something good, but there's a lot of things out there nowadays that can sort of hijack this and enforce this like quick reinforcement of enjoyment when it's not really something that's earned. And the problem is whenever you have a massive peak here, you know, you're probably going to be in the dumps the next day, okay? Because your dopamine's all spent from the day before, and your lunch break is not going to stack up well to whatever this guy did the day before. So he's going to be flatlined a lot of the day, okay? Maybe a little peak for lunch. And then the only way he's getting back up here is if he does something similar to what he did. But the problem is, even then, if he does that, you're not going to get as high because it was not as good as the first day. So maybe you only get to there. And then guess what happens the next day? We're down here. And you know how this goes, right? This is kind of an explanation for addiction, but this video is about a bit more than that. But I'm just trying to illustrate here that this is how people get hooked on things. And eventually you're going to be doing this just to get to baseline, to like a 5 out of 10, which is destructive. So let's put another day on the board. Okay, this guy, he has a regular morning, has a nice lunch. He enjoys that, he feels accomplished because he's earned that, because he's had a good morning at work or whatever he's doing. And then maybe he's feeling even more accomplished at the end of the day. He's got paid, he's finished his work for the day. And then after that, maybe he has a snack and goes to the gym. He finishes the gym, he's feeling great by the end of the day. He's earned some money, he's improved his fitness. Maybe he did something else. But the thing is, there's no hedonism here. There's no hedonic treadmill, you might have heard. Everything here is a longer dopamine loop, which is very healthy, okay? Our dopamine is wired to keep us productive, right? If you look at evolutionary psychology, it was mostly around food and reproduction, but that doesn't serve us too well anymore because overeating and I guess over reproduction doesn't really serve us in the modern day, so you've got to be aware of that. Instead, we want to enforce these loops for things that are actually going to make our lives better, you know, whether that be making progress in your professional life or your fitness life or any other endeavor. And if you notice anything about this graph, you'll see there's no big dips, all right? This guy is barely ever in the dumps. You could argue he's even starting the next day even higher because he's just had a productive day the day before. And I think now where hedonism is kind of rising, just with all the things that are just so easy to get addicted to nowadays, from like even a minor thing like phone addiction to anything else, use your imagination. Because if you're living that kind of turbulent lifestyle, like this is looking crazy, I don't think anyone really thrives in this. You don't want to be down here, and you know, eventually that's, as I said, you're just going to be shadowing that below it because you're never going to hit these highs again. You're just kind of doing it to get to baseline. So I've put the discipline guy back on the graph, and this might be the most important part of the video. The reason that discipline is hard is because if you're living this disciplined lifestyle, you can go into any hedonistic kind of thing. And this guy, instead of going to the gym, could shoot up to a 10 out of 10 enjoyment at any time, just because his dopamine is so set to these long haul tasks that are productive, and they're not going to hijack your dopamine receptors as much as, again, I'm trying to keep it PG, but use your imagination. And the problem is, if he does follow this blue line into hedonism, you know, he maybe comes down a bit by the end of the day, and different color, and he starts the day a bit slower, he's not going to hit these same highs because he's had this massive surge such that finishing the morning, finishing the evening, and going to the gym are not going to feel very rewarding. It's probably just going to be largely flatlined. Maybe it gets a little bump after the gym, but it's just not a good day. You're feeling flat most of the day, you're not getting as much done, you're not feeling rewarded for the things you're doing. And when you're feeling rewarded for the things that you're actually doing, it becomes a dopamine loop, right? It eggs us on to do it even more, because whether or not we want to admit it, we're kind of ruled by our enjoyment and what we actually want to do. So if you can set up that loop to be reinforcing things that are actually good for you and making your life better, getting in shape, working on your professional life, maybe it's getting some good grades in university. When we can reinforce this loop, this longer loop, as opposed to these short fire like dopamine sprays we get from anything out there nowadays, that's when we really start snowballing that progress and we just get addicted to it, okay? So there's my case for living a bit more of a disciplined lifestyle. I'm not going to tell you to be a complete monk, but I think living that turbulent lifestyle just does not serve us well. I hope that was largely understandable, and I hope you enjoyed, learned something, and I'll see you next time.